So for a while, you guys have been asking for a video on a how-to for my remote control tumbler of how I got the independent steering to work just like the one from the movie. Now I had a short video of this on my page that shows the wheels, shows them working, gives a quick description of this, but I'll go ahead and redo it real quick. This is made by TYCO. It came out just back in 2006, I think, when the original Dark Knight movies came out. They don't make them anymore. They haven't made them in a long time. I found mine on eBay. So you can still get them, but the way this was set up originally was up here where the front wheels are, there was a solid bar or axle that went through, and there were two large plastic wheels that were basically for show. They rolled, but they didn't turn or move or anything like that. In fact, they didn't even touch the ground when it was being used. Where this hole is down here in the bottom of it, there was a single wheel in there that was mounted to a servo on the inside, and that's what it actually rolled on when it was on the ground like this. So it actually sat up a little bit like that. It rode on that wheel underneath there, and then that wheel pivoted, and that's what would cause it to turn one way or another. Meanwhile, like I said, these wheels never even touched the ground. So what I went ahead and did was took it apart, gutted the inside. So it's completely empty inside except for a standard remote control receiver and speed control. So like you would have in any of your hobby RC cars or trucks or anything like that. And then what I did was made brackets up here for the wheels to actually pivot and work independently. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'll pull the wheels off. I don't think I did that in the other video, and then that way you guys can see an up close thing of exactly how I did it, because a few of you had questions about that. All right, so in here is what I did for the steering mechanism. What this little part is right here is the engine mount for a radio controlled airplane. So if you were to flip this on its side to where these were flat, imagine it like this. If this was the nose of your airplane, this back part here would be mounted just like it is. These two arms stick out, and then the engine sits here in the front, and the propeller, just almost like the shaft of this is, faces out that way. This is just what I decided to use as a point to be able to put the arm in there and pivot it. You could essentially use any kind of bracket if you wanted to fabricate something that would just hold a radio controlled car arm spindle, which is what this is. So as you get further in here, I'll try and get the focus better. What this is the front spindle arm from a radio controlled truck. I think it was a Traxxas model. And what I did was I went to the hobby shop, I picked out this engine mount, and then I picked out a spindle that fit roughly inside that area. All right. Now this was thick enough that I was able to run some small screws through it into the plastic. I also put liquid nail behind there just to really make sure that this piece was going to be solid on the plastic of the Batmobile. So then basically it's just a pin axle that goes through here, and that's what allows that to pivot. Right here, sorry about the focus guys, I'm trying to get in close so you can see, and it's just wanting to play games with me. So the arm back here where the servo connects is all standard setup for a radio controlled truck or car. So I didn't have to do anything fancy there. And then if you look back here is the actual servo. Now you can even see if I zoom in there, that glob of brown back there is liquid nail. there was really no way to affix this servo to the inside there that I could find that I was going to be comfortable with. You could have double-sided taped it in there, but I went ahead, just globbed some liquid nail in there, and it's in there and set. So you can see the arm there. It's just a standard remote control servo, and that's what pushes this spindle and makes that wheel turn. And then you can see the wire back here. Just while I had it apart, I fed it into there, and it plugs into the receiver. Now, the one thing that I had to do, since these are independent of each other, is I bought a Y adapter. So it basically takes a plug for one servo and splits it into two. That way they will work simultaneously and both wheels turn. Now, they are on opposite sides, and I'm trying to remember, there was a reverse switch that I bought. That way one servo goes in one direction, one servo goes in the other direction. That way I was able to still mount both of them facing down and the arms facing the same way. Let me see if I can get a little more light for you guys in there. You can see how it's still set up in there. Sorry, it's just kind of some goofy angles to try and get into, but same basic setup. I got the screws going through there, the pin holding the spindle in there, and then the servo just glued up in there to make it move. And then, like I said, by doing it this way, all of the actual moving parts and where the wheel goes on, it's standard bearings for a radio control, car or truck. Again, these tires, they came off of Traxxas model truck. What are they called? They are Sport Trax Talons is the actual tire that I got for them, and then the wheels, again, are just Traxxas radio controlled truck car rims, and these are just what I picked to go with this. Obviously, I know they don't resemble the Batmobile exactly, but it was the closest I could come by for this setup. So anyway, guys, I hope that this answered a few of the questions that you had, gave you a close-up of everything so you could see how it was done and how it works. If you have any other questions, hit me up in the comments. I will try to answer them like I have before. And if there's something that you specifically need to see in here, I'll try to film something else. I didn't want to take the whole thing apart again because there's quite a few screws. And like I said, you're not going to see anything on the inside other than a basic remote control receiver and the wires going to it from the servos. There's nothing else in there. In fact, I just gutted everything else that was in there. So it's an empty shell inside other than that basic equipment. And if you were going to do a project like this, you would need to get your own transmitter with a receiver and a couple servos and just put it together. So that's basically how it was set up. Again, guys, I hope this helped for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see anything else like this in the future, consider subscribing. I have a few other projects and builds that I'm working on and things I need to tend to, so just bear with me, but I will have some new content soon. Thanks a lot, and I hope everybody has a great day.